Are you worried that if you put your kid in therapy, that the therapist will have to make a mandated report to the Department of Children and Family Services based on the history of domestic violence in your family? Well, we're going to talk about that today on Tips on Teens. My name is Kent Toussaint. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I specialize in helping kids, teens, and families live happier lives. I lead two organizations, the group private practice Teen Therapy Center and the nonprofit 501c3 organization Child and Teen Counseling, both here in Woodland Hills, California. Every Wednesday at noon, I jump into Facebook Live to answer your parenting questions. Let's jump into today's. I want to get my son into therapy, but there's a history of domestic violence in our family. His dad and I are separated. What happens if my son tells the therapist about domestic violence? Does the therapist have to call the police? So all therapists in the state of California, whether they are licensed or pre-licensed, are mandated reporters. What does that mean? So in a nutshell, if there is reasonable suspicion, not proof, not evidence, but reasonable suspicion that there is sexual abuse or physical abuse or emotional abuse or neglect, then we are mandated by law to make a report to the Department of Children and Family Services, and then they will go and investigate the allegations. It is not for therapists to determine what's right or wrong, just reasonable suspicion. So let's put this in the context of domestic violence. So let's assume, for argument's sake, that the domestic violence was between the two parents and the child was only a witness. That is mandated reporting because it is emotional abuse. It is emotional abuse for a child to witness his parents physically abusing one another. Now, let's take that one step further. Let's assume, for argument's sake, that that child is a victim of the domestic violence. He's been hit, punched, choked, whatever the physical violence is. That's a slam dunk mandated report. And what constitutes physical abuse? Because in the state of California, you are legally allowed to spank your kids. Whether it's effective parenting or effective discipline is a whole other story, because I don't believe it is. But you are allowed to spank your kids. What you're not allowed to do is use a closed fist. You're not allowed to use an object. You're not allowed to leave bruises or marks or scratches of any kind. Anything like that, that would be a mandated report as well. Now, many of you may be thinking, oh my gosh, I can't get my kid in therapy. They're going to make a report. And I would caution you to rethink that, because most of the time, and this is my opinion, I do not work for the county. I do not work for DCFS. I do not speak for the county. This is my own personal opinion based on my own experience, and this is anecdotal. So my experience is, when I've made reports, DCFS does not usually want to take kids out of the home. They are so overwhelmed already. They don't want to take more kids out of more homes. They really don't want to do that unless the abuse is severe. If there is some domestic violence, parents are slapping each other, maybe, the kid got, slapped around a little too much, maybe he was being hit with a belt, you can't use objects either, they may decide to take the child out, but more than likely they're going to say, hey, we mandate therapy for your kid, we mandate therapy for you, parenting classes. It's inconvenient, but it helps everyone heal and get the support they need, which is maybe why you're seeking therapy in the first place. And if you wait, if you never get your kid in therapy, then they have all this unresolved issues that they hopefully don't, but possibly could pass on to the next generation or in their next relationships. We don't want to do that. We want to get people help. I think the county generally wants to help. I've heard horror stories here and there. I've heard the outliers. Again, I think those are outliers. Most of the time, I think the county just wants to help make sure that people are safe. I also think that if it's still going on, that report's going to come out regardless, whether it's the therapist, the teacher's going to find out, the neighbor's going to find out, someone's going to find out. Catch it now before it gets worse. Also, with mandated reporting, if you tell the therapist, well, we've already had it reported, that therapist still has to make the report. It doesn't matter if this report has been made 10 times. Every new mandated reporter who comes across one of these instances must make a new report. DCFS will research it, realize it's the same report they've had 5 of the times. If there's no new information, they don't really take new action. Again, that's my experience as a therapist not working for DCFS. I do not speak for DCFS. That is my anecdotal experience. Anyways, I hope this has been helpful. I hope this has made it clear on what the rules are. I do encourage you to get your kid in therapy, even if that leads to a report. Hopefully, the violence has not been so extreme that they don't have to take kids out of the house. But if the violence has been that extreme, maybe something needs to happen that's more significant than just therapy. I don't know. We want to get your kid help. So please reach out, get your kid some help, get your kid some therapy. The consequences will not be as bad as ignoring it. That's my question for today. Thank you very much. My name is Kent Toussaint with Teen Therapy Center and Child and Teen Counseling. If you have a question you'd like me to answer, go ahead and email us at tipsonteens@teentherapycenter.com or direct message us right here on Facebook. We love your questions. Keep them coming. I will see you next Wednesday at noon. Bye-bye, guys.